Okay. What is Texas? 70-40. It's in Texas. Yeah. Just bear with me, give me a minute. I'll see. Yeah, I can look at them. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, 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 Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again. And I'm sorry for the delay. So, since yesterday we are talking about trying to see the different aspects of Ayurveda, in which in yesterday evening we saw the basic understanding of Ayurveda and how it benefits. this morning we could understand the spiritual aspect of Ayurveda. And today, this evening, we are going to look into some deeper aspect, so which is called as the Upastambha or the pillars for Ayurveda. So as you can see, there are three Upastambha or pillars of health. One is Ahara, diet, Nidra, sleep, and Brahmacharya, which means controlled lifestyle. So we'll try to see how these three aspects of how these three pillars can lead us to a better life. And when I say better life, that means to say a healthy and happy life. So for those who are present in yesterday's session or those who got chance to see the session yesterday evening, they would have some glimpse of what we're talking about.
Can you share the screen?
Okay. So yeah, nowadays, as the modern world goes, there are many different aspects of diet. Can someone name a few?
Plant-based diet.
Plant-based diet. Thank you. Vegan. Keto.
Paleo.
Paleo. Wow. It's a laundry list, but doesn't come to an end. Okay. Yeah, as I said, it's a laundry list. So in Ayurveda, we don't categorize diet in different terminologies. We right away tell you that what would happen if you eat this or what would happen if you eat that. So based on that, let's try to see or focus or dive into these three aspects. So ahara, which is diet. So the importance of ahara diet of three pillars of health, ahara or diet is the most important, and that is why it is mentioned first. Of all the factors, these are responsible for the growth and development of the human body. Diet is the most important thing. How many of you agree with this? Thank you. So, Ayurveda says there is something called as hitahar, which means the food which is beneficial or conducive. Sorry. Okay, so beneficial or conducive diet. What does it mean? So the beneficial or conducive diet comes under that it has shad rasas, means six tastes. Does anyone recollect what those six tastes were?
Bitter, salt, sugar, bitter, sour, pungent.
Wow, thank you. So I'll just summarize. It's sweet, sour, bitter, pungent, salty, and astringent. Yeah. So we start with the sweet. Okay. So what does this means? Any hitahar, any beneficial diet has these four characteristics. Is liked by the one eating. It is clean and pure. Not very hot. Has been freshly prepared. So do you think that these four categories can definitely provide a good healthy diet? Yeah. Thank you. So continuing the same thing. It's only Hit Ahar that's solely responsible for the growth of development of the body and maintenance of health. On the contrary, inconducive diet is responsible for disease development. Although there are other factors in this development of the body, Ahar is most important. Let's say we have car, and let's say we have Tesla. Tesla indeed is a good car, electric car. And I decide to charge Tesla instead of electricity, I try to charge with gas. What will happen? It will mess up. So similarly, the diet, no matter whatever we are taking, if it is not fulfilling, if it is not useful, it might harm you. And because that's one of the responsible factor of your nourishment. Now it is said that food should be prepared and served by well-wishing people or aides. The kitchen cooking area should be clean and not congested. So how many of you agree on the first aspect? I'll give you an example. I met one patient of mine who came to me with a severe stomach cramps. I asked him what happened. He said, no, yesterday he had a pizza at one restaurant, and after that he developed this stomachache. I said, why? What was wrong with the pizza? He said, nothing was wrong. Pizza was very tasteful. In fact, he never tasted pizza like that. I said, okay. And after 3 days, he came back to me. He said, I feel very sorry for that person. I said, who? He said, that day at the restaurant which I've been to, that guy resigned from the job. The cook resigned. I said, what happened? He said, that day when I ate pizza, he had a terrible fight with his wife. And he created the pizza with that consciousness. And after I ate it, I had a stomachache. So when we not pay attention to the food what is cooked, the consciousness of the person gets transferred into it. Ayurveda even further says that before the food comes to your plate, there are 6 types of consciousness mixed with it. Would like to know which all? Okay. So the first consciousness is the person who sowed the seed in the ground. The second, who harvests it. The third, who packs it. The fourth, who sells it. The fifth, who cooks it. And the sixth, who serves it. So when you are having a plate of sumptuous rice and sweet kheer or whatever, a nice pasta, so behind that, all this consciousness are involved. Now someone might say, why does it matter to me? As you know, consciousness not to be seen. It's not that I taste the pizza or taste the pasta and I say, oh, today half teaspoon of consciousness is less in it. Or half teaspoon of consciousness is more in it. But the fact of the matter is, consciousness is an energy which determines how or which way the food would be affected to the brain. So what we do is that when we cook the food, we offer the food to Lord. And why do we offer the food? Can anyone tell me?
He's the owner. He's the supreme proprietor.
Okay,
So,
it's a nice answer.
yeah, we didn't create it. It's a sculpture. Yeah.
Krishna removes the seed.
Sins.
Sins.
Karma.
Okay, karma.
Become a karma.
Okay, good. Anything else?
As Krishna says so in the Gita Patram.
Yeah. And love. I accept it. Thank you. And then, one more reason I'm looking for one particular thing. it gets sanctified. Okay, purifies the senses. Correct. Krishna to it. Okay. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. If I am satisfied, the entire world is satisfied. But does Krishna get satisfied? In Jagannath Puri, they offering how many offerings? 56 offerings. Anyways, but the fact of the matter is Krishna looks at the love behind that. So the food which is cooked in good consciousness and food which is offered to Lord, it becomes prasadam. And the potency of prasadam is mentioned in the Shastras. So one story talks about when Ramanandacharya, the saint from the southern part of India, one day he threw few rice in the pond over there, and the fish ate those. As soon as the fish ate those rice, they turned into the spiritual form and went to the spiritual world. That is the consciousness. That's the power of prasadam. Then probably we are eating at least few 100 pounds in a year. Sorry, that's exaggeration. But why don't we get changed? Because we are not accepting the Krishna prasadam in the form of that this is offered to the Lord. So we should be conscious that the food is being offered with consciousness and the food becomes full with Krishna consciousness. And if we eat that in that aspect, then it affects us. And the second point is the kitchen cooking area should be clean and not congested. Why is it so? Anyone can tell me? Simple science. Hygiene. Hygiene. So hygiene is the modern aspect. I'll tell you something subtle. So around us, around us, as there are small bacteria, there are small, insects which can't be seen from our eyes. Similarly, there are other entities. When I say entities, these are called bhutas. That doesn't mean ghost. This is Sanskrit. So these are other living entities which are very subtle and they get attracted to places which are not clean because they get the energy from there. And if the kitchen is not clean, then this type of entities get attracted and as a result, the person who eats the food gets sick. Trust me, even if you offer this food to Krishna, nothing will happen to Krishna. But when we eat it, definitely we'll get sick. Now this is something interesting. Rules for the one eating means, what is it one? One should be hungry. One should sit straight and slightly elevated seat. So what does it mean one should be hungry? Yeah, not eat when you're not hungry. But again, I would like to elaborate this term hunger. Can someone define what is hunger?
Intense desire to eat.
Okay. So basically, in Ayurveda, the acharyas, when they talk about hunger, they don't talk about the physical hunger itself. They talk about the subtle hunger also. And the subtle hunger means, let's say someone offered you a very nice pastry. It's big in size. Or let's say, okay, someone offered you nice rasgullas. Let's say 10 of them. And you're very hungry, you're eating 4. And after 4, you feel full. The belly is saying, that's it, I can't have more. But the mind is saying, yeah, I can take one more. So that's the hunger of the mind. And hunger of the mind is so powerful. I'll give you an example from Ayurveda. One day, there was a doctor from southern coastal part of Maharashtra. There was one patient who went and visited him. The patient said, Doctor, I'm having severe stomach ache and I want something to, please help me. I want to get cured. So the doctor checked his pulse. He was an Ayurvedic Vaidya. He checked his pulse and he told that person, you should not eat fish. Now, a person staying in the coastal areas hearing that he should not eat fish is a big austerity. And anyways, so he said, okay, doctor, I promise you I won't eat fish. And after 1 month, he went for the follow-up. The doctor checked the pulse again. And this time the doctor was upset with him. He said, I told you not to eat fish. Why did you eat fish? The patient said, Doctor, I swear, I haven't touched fish. The doctor said, okay. And since it was a small village, everyone knew each other. So one day the doctor went unknowingly to his house during the lunchtime. And in the village setup, he was sitting outside and he was having his food. And there was no fish in the plate. But it so happened that the direction which he was sitting in, the next door neighbor kitchen was facing him. And the smell of fish was coming from there. So even though he wasn't hungry physically, subtly he was enjoying that food. So it says one should be hungry. One should sit straight on a slightly elevated seat. I mean, every one of us sit, on a table to have prasadam, on a chair. It's elevated. But why we say that? Traditionally in India, when people used to sit, the platform was slightly elevated. So it helps the stomach to come in a direction which can digest the food in a better way, and eating little can satisfy your stomach. Like especially when we sit on a chair, on a dining table and chair and we eat, that time, let's say this is my thighs, it goes like this. Like right now I'm sitting here, the thighs are like this. Which means to say the back is kind of slightly lifted up. In that situation, the food what you eat is more than what your body can digest. So if we sit properly with folded legs and eat, that time the food would be eaten less, but it will be digested better. Then third, should eat in silence, focusing on the food. How many of us do this? Okay. But why is it so? Nowadays, many parents, sorry, don't take me wrong, but I've seen young kids, they eat food, parents are busy feeding them food, but they are focused on the cartoon which is playing. So is it wrong or right? Why is it wrong? At the end of the day, he's eating or she's eating. Yeah. They are overeating. That's what happens. And why one should eat in silence? Because once we eat in silence, our attention is towards what we are eating. And the senses don't get disturbed. Our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, if you see, there are pictures available of him on the internet while he was honoring prasadam. most of the places is fully focused on what he's eating. And some of the pictures you can even see he's facing the wall. No one to disturb him. That doesn't mean that he's afraid that someone will come and take from his plate. No. The other aspect of that is the food what is served in the plate is remnants of the Lord. It's prasadam. And in Bhagavad Gita 15.14, there's a verse. Does someone remember? Yes, thank you. It says, can you please complete it? Thank you. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says that Krishna says he's the digestive fire. Whereas in Ayurveda, it's been elaborated a bit. In Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says, Aham Vaishvanara Bhutva, which means as Paramatma sits in the heart, there is a form of Krishna, and the name is Vaishvanar. He sits in the belly, and he distributes the required nutrition to the body. And when we eat, it's like you're offering flowers to the Vaishvanar, the deity of Vaishvanar in the stomach. So how do you offer flower to the Lord? Do we just dump, take? No. We are cautious of how we offer. Similarly, when we eat, if we are in silence, focusing on the food, then the offering to Vaishvanar is done in a better way. And he is pleased. And when he is pleased, the body is nourished. And the mind too. Then he says that one should not eat too fast, nor too slow, chewing many times before swallowing. How many of you tried this? There's someone over there. Good. Or how many of them had a doubt or had a question, why should we do this? Never. Right?
Too slow.
Hmm?
You said too slow.
Not too slow.
Not too slow.
Yeah.
Slow.
When we slowly, okay, I'll tell you. Basically, when we eat fast, we don't know what we are eating. We are not focused on the food.
Okay.
And when we eat too slow, that time the required juices which is needed to digest that particular food, that gets diluted. So for example, if I put a morsel of food in my mouth and if start chewing it, so you can try this out when you go home. Just don't try to swallow it fast. Just chew it normally, and you will notice without you swallowing it, the food goes down. So there is a concept in Ayurveda which recommends that one should drink the solids and chew the liquids. Now, what does this mean? Drink the solid means when you sip a water, when you drink water, just sip it. Don't do bottoms up. When you sip it, then requirement of water would be less. The water would be mixed, the saliva would mix with the water, and that water would be easy to digest. And similarly, when you chew the food, if you chew it properly, then it's automatically pushed behind, and with less amount of food, you can be satisfied. So one day I was talking to a few Gurukul boys, and I asked the same question. How many times do you think you should chew the food? One boy said, I know it should be 32 times. and I count 3 times before I swallow the food. That's not practical. But the fact is, if you eat food properly, if you chew it properly, it slides down. Give it a try. And then it says, should rinse the mouth when changing food taste. What does it mean? It's not that when I'm eating, let's say I'm having rice and dal or rice and sambar, and the next dish is sweet, rasgulla. I should not get out from my table, rinse the mouth and come back and then return the sambar. It's not like that. So here comes the aspect of drinking of water. Many times people say what to drink, how to drink. So when you sip the water, it clears the saliva and the new saliva is produced. And when you eat the next morsel, you can feel that taste in detail. So that's what it means by rinse the mouth. So it says rules for one eating, which means don't eat before or after meal time. Now I would like to know from you, what does it mean that before and after meal time?
Specific time every day.
Specific time every day. Anyone else?
Snacks. We eat snacks between meals.
Okay, that's good.
Before and after.
Now I want to know this meal time. What is this meal time?
Breakfast.
Breakfast, lunch. Okay. So you mean to say the daylight time changes, your lunch and breakfast time changes?
It feels like you don't eat between breakfast to lunch, like you don't
Because it's
keep
a
on
only
eating,
one
like,
finger.
Yes.
I think you shared yesterday with some before sunset.
Yes. That's one of the aspects. But when Ayurveda says meal time, Ayurveda doesn't talk about your watch. The meal time means when the stomach is hungry. So many of us, this time is imbalanced. We eat anywhere between like morning 6 o'clock to next morning 6 o'clock. What to speak of many, even today, like I had my lunch at 3 o'clock. So basically, the ideal time to eat is when you feel hungry.
If there's no hunger, don't.
Don't eat. Huh? If you're hungry at 10 o'clock night,
Then water.
drink water. Yeah. So as Prabhu was saying, basically there is a fixed time, tentative time. We need to understand the human body, or we are born in planet Earth. And in planet Earth, the energy is based on sun. Okay? So when the sun is at the peak in the noon time, which is between, let's say, 11 to 1, that's the ideal time to take meal. And second time would be after 6 hours. That too if you feel hungry. That's the ideal meal time.
Becomes 6 o'clock. Sunset.
No, that's what I'm saying, that if you feel hungry, you can eat that.
No, but if we wake up very early, like around 3 or 4 o'clock, and we are feeling hungry at around 9 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Then you should eat.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Meal time, when your stomach is hungry, it will give you an indication. Okay. Then the next thing is one.
One more question. But sometimes that hunger might be just craving, you don't know.
Yes.
So what should we do?
So in that case, let's say if you eat something now and after 2 hours you feel hungry again, that is craving. So what you do, you drink quarter glass of warm water. When you drink that quarter glass of warm water, that hunger is subside because it's a false alarm. And after drinking the quarter glass of water, still if you feel hungry, then you should definitely eat. Okay. So the next is contaminated, uncovered, spoiled, burned food. So it is quite easy to understand, right? Contaminated, because it will make us sick. Leftover food. Oh my God, I have what do you call it? I told this to one of my patients. You should not eat leftover food. He said, doctor, why did you told this to me 2 days back? I said, what happened? He said, yesterday I got brand new fridge for $3,000. So what happens is that Ayurveda doesn't talk about the food which is kept in the fridge. Anything which is frozen, which is cold, it loses its strength. It might maintain the calories, but we talk about the prana shakti. We talk about the strength or the energy of that particular food. So the grains which are cooked, if it goes in the fridge, it loses the potency of that particular food. So that doesn't mean that you cook 3 meals a day. What it means that, let's say if you cook in the morning, you can keep it out. Most of our home, we have a controlled temperature. The food won't go bad. So you don't have to remove from the fridge and overheat it again. The food which is kept on your kitchen counter or your island, you can use that food to heat because it is not frozen. Food that you do not like or that which is tastes and smells bad. Can someone tell me the food which smells bad and people still eat it? Yeah. I'll tell you one funny incident. In Hong Kong, there's a ISKCON temple. And over there, the person who used to come to deliver the food, the bhoga, he had to cross from the kitchen to go to the another side of the storeroom. And as he was crossing from the kitchen, he used to always cover his nose. And he used to keep the food and come back. So one day the devotee asked him, hey, why do you cover your nose when you pass to the kitchen? He said, the smell which comes from your kitchen, I don't like it. They said, why? He said, especially if you fry. But the devotee said, but we use ghee to fry. He said, that's what I don't like. He said, so what do you eat? He said, I like to eat the soy chunks, which is fried in soy oil. For him, that tastes better than the ghee. So, for him, he might not like it because he's not developed the good taste for it. When it is said food that has not been cooked properly, what would happen, everyone knows. Food, stomach allergies, will throw up. And the food that has been reheated was cooked long time back or is very, very cold. I think I should remove this line from there. Because every one of us do that. Including my family, sometimes we do that. But
is there any duration for long time? How long?
So basically it is said whatever you cooked in the day, you can eat it till night. Provided the food is covered and it doesn't go in the fridge. The idea is when you go in the fridge, the temperature is very low. It's like in its 20s or something like that.
Yeah.
But when you overheat it, there's a German scientist who did this experiment. What happens to the food? And during his experiment, he saw that the molecular structure of a frozen food, when it is reheated, it's totally distorted. So externally, the food might look the same, but internally, value-wise, the nutrition has diminished. So therefore, if you want to reheat the food, you can keep it on the counter, but don't keep it in the fridge.
But this includes milk as well. Milk is in fridge.
So milk, but the milk which is kept in the fridge is raw milk.
Yeah.
If you boil the milk, it can stay out.
Like how vegetables we put in raw vegetables.
Yeah, because see, there are certain things which you cannot avoid.
Mhm.
What we are talking here is about cooked milk.
Cooked or solid.
Uncooked is okay. Avoid after meals. This seems to be avoided. Sleep at night for a long time. Now come on, after eating we should sleep. How are you saying that don't sleep? Laugh or talk exclusively. Now why you should not laugh or talk exclusively? Anyone has answer for that? Yes, one is no focus. One more, someone said.
Take the food out. because-
Yes. There is a high possibility that you might choke on the food when the food goes in the windpipe. And there are some studies available on internet. If you want, you can find it out. It is said that around the world, there are 16.89% population, they die just because of choking on food. Yeah. Avoid unpleasant sensory exposures. What does it mean? Yeah. Sensory exposure means, I'll give an example. Let's say, Jai Shri Radha Gopi Bhagwan ki Jai. So, let's say someone is offering very nice piece of cake to you. Or if you are, let's say, if you're not so eager of eating sugar, whatever food you think like the best you eat, someone is offering it to you. Okay? And while that food is offered, that person gives you the food with grudge. Would you eat it? But that's the food which you like the most. So has the quality of food changed?
Yes.
No, the quality hasn't changed. The consciousness of food has changed. So when the consciousness of food has changed, the same food which should be nourished by the body, it would cause harm to the body. Especially if we see things like there is a violence involved in that. If you're watching a video, if you're watching on something on the cell phone, and if violence is involved in that, your mind captures that image. I'll give you one more example. I'll try to elaborate on that. Again, let's say someone has offered you a particular food which you like the most. Let's say sweets, laddus. And you eat one laddu, and you eat 2 and 3, and the 4th time you try to eat, that person holds a hand. He said, "Don't eat. This is enough." So how would you react to it? You won't like it, right? That this is something which I love. Why this person is holding back? So there is a negative emotion or feeling is created. And secondly, if there is a video or if there is a thing which you are watching which has violence and it has something sad, we also get sad. Why it happens? Because the consciousness changes and the brain sends the signal to the stomach and it stops the appetite. You don't feel like eating. So we should not do that. Consume large amount of fluids. What would happen?
Digestion power.
Yeah, the fire is.
Yeah, the digestive fire is extinguished. And you may not be able to generate the required nutrition to digest the food because you're diluting the fire. And excessive physical activity like swimming, horse riding, etc. Why? Can anyone tell me this?
Because blood is diverted to muscles.
Yes. So when you eat, the first thing body does is tries to digest what you ate. But if you do something rigorous activities, the energy is divided and the food is not digested properly. Now till now we were just talking about, and I kind of know it's a scary part. All negative things you told me. Tell something positive. So yeah, this is the benefit. Strength, stamina, good complexion, good health, happiness, long life, vitality. It is rightly said that the Jatharagni or the digestive fire needs fuel in the form of diet to sustain itself. So, how many of you agree with me? Thank you. I don't know how much time we have to. 10 minutes. Okay. Sleep. Okay. So I think, since we have just 10 more minutes, I would try to see if there are any question answers. I mean, if there are any questions, I would like to answer those. Because the sleep and control lifestyle is, again, it will take 2 more hours. So we'll keep it for later time. Sunday fixed. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Not taking fluids when we are only right? How about like butter like payasam or food as fluid of milk?
So if you read this, it says not consume large amount of fluids. How much payasam can we eat?
200 ml.
Like anything between 6 to 8 ounces is okay, and you should consume, let's say, buttermilk. You should consume along with the food. That helps the food to get digested properly. Yeah. Yes.
Some devotees, which is the ideal, like we are doing, not just fruits, especially, as we are in 30s, 40s, like that, but is it okay to we develop acidity in the long run? Because I see some devotees, they do literal or they do very rigorous Ekadashi breath, but in the span of few years, they develop some issues. So which is a very sustained approach to Ekadashi breath, right?
as far as my understanding goes, Prabhupada, I mean, at least I haven't read the Prabhupada being very elaborate about Ekadashi following. Prabhupada clearly say Ekadashi means no grains. And if you don't have grains, if you can sustain without having grains, that's okay. If you can have, I mean, if you can sustain with having only water, that's also okay. But Ekadashi should not be a plate filled with paneer, fruit salads,
Pizza,
peanuts, Ekadashi pizzas.
Kimba biryani.
That's not the purpose of Ekadashi. The purpose of Ekadashi is that, like the Sanskrit word upavasa, which means being near of Lord. So the whole purpose of Ekadashi is to limit the amount of food what you can eat and utilize the rest of the time in chanting or doing some spiritual activities. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one of his songs, he said, if you want, like, he says, Jatana Palana Kori. So which means you should faithfully observe it, not for the benefit of the body, but for the elevation of the spirituality. So when it comes to Ekadashi, the purpose is not, how much not to eat. The purpose is how much can we relate to Krishna or how much we can serve Krishna. If you have some temple service, for that matter, let's say it's a festival, and then you have big service which is given to you, and you go and tell your authority or tell your Shiksha Guru or anyone, say, Prabhu, you cannot do this to me. I'm fasting. I cannot do this service. That's wrong. So Ekadashi, spiritually, if it's concerned, it's all about devoting more time to Krishna consciousness. So it doesn't matter if you can do without food or with food. And Prabhupada has made very clear that Ekadashi means no grains. That's it. That's what my take is. Correct. Yes.
After how much time we can have consumed the fluids then? I mean, after 1 hour, 2 hours, once we have to.
As I said, the fluids can be consumed with the meal, sip by sip, but we don't consume in large quantity. Yeah.
So we talked about diet and how to improve the digestion after eating food. We follow all the rules, but sometimes we feel stomach is really heavy or something. How to facilitate the digestion after eating?
The one way to facilitate digestion is very simple. First of all, okay, how many of you have used the blender in house? Okay. What would happen if you fill the blender to the top? It will splash out, right? So Ayurveda says that for a proper aid of digestion, eat a little bit less than what you think you can eat. If you think you can have, let's say, 3 chapatis, have 2.5. And the rest amount, the space, give it for the stomach to churn the food. When the stomach churns the food, then it becomes very easy for the food to get digested. So one of the things what we can do is, after you eat, you can walk 200 steps. Or if you're at home, you can sit in Vajrasana, which means you bend your knees and you sit on your ankles. Yeah. Prabhu is demonstrating that. Yeah. So that would help in digestion. Yes. Anyone else?
Is the nap okay? Eating short nap, 10 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah. You can lay down on your left side, but don't snore. Yeah. Yes. All right.
There are people who follow the raw diet. How safe and healthy is it?
Raw diet.
Like vegetables, fruits.
Yeah. So Ayurveda is not, I mean, it does talk about raw diet, but generally it recommends raw diet for sages who can walk, who can stay in a natural environment. Because raw diet, since it is raw, it takes a lot of time to digest. But people say that if I eat raw diet, it is easy for me to evacuate. That means they think the food is getting digested properly. It's the other way around. It's very heavy for the stomach to hold it, so stomach flushes it out. So if you see okay, I'll give you an example. The animals like goat, yesterday or day before we saw a reindeer. We were very happy to see the reindeer. First time coming from Texas. In Texas, all we see is raccoons. So the reindeers, they eat the grass, the leaves, but they're active. The goats, they eat the leaves or grass, they're active. If you see carefully, all the animals who are eating raw green things and are active, they are thin. But those animals like cow, elephant, rhinoceros, they also eat raw. They are not active. You can figure out the size of the body. So that's what happens. Okay.
So vegetable salad, we cannot eat.
You can eat, but not a bowl full of salad.
Oh,
Little quantity is okay. It helps in digestion, not a bowl full.
but there is no people eat here. Salad.
Because again, when vegetarians, like especially in the West, people who consume meat, their body cannot digest that meat because it has to produce a lot of acid. So when they eat salad along with that meat, the body turns to become slightly alkaline.
That's
Because naturally human beings are not supposed to consume non-vegetarian food. The body is not designed for that. But if you want to eat greens, it is okay to consume greens provided it is cooked properly.
What about fruits?
Fruits you can have not with your regular lunch or dinner. You can have fruits as a snack, and that too fruits which are seasonally available. Unfortunately, in America, people don't know what is available seasonally. So I'll give you a small idea. Just like nowadays, you might see in the stores, you get apple cider. So apple cider is there because that's the season of apple. You get more apples over there. Whenever you go to grocery stores and if you see a particular fruit which you don't see throughout the year, that means that's the season. You can have that.
but banana we can have problem.
America sustains on banana. Banana, generally the nature of banana is that it is good for stomach. But again, if you see geographically, banana, do you see any banana tree in Farmington Hill?
No.
Okay. So the nature is very clear. I'll give you example how. I come from Texas. In Texas, we don't have weather like here. We grow cane, we grow banana. In Canada, you cannot grow cane, you cannot grow banana. So nature has provided you apple and then
Blueberry.
maple.
Maple.
So you get maple syrup. So there is substitute available or everywhere. Yeah. So it's a very ideal situation. Don't get stressed out because of this.
Specifically, the modern science still have vitamin B12, D or iron, which is less in vegetarian food. And people have this idea who can take that only from non-vegetarian food or artificial supplementation. So what is Ayurvedic take on those numbers?
Ayurveda says that with all due respect to the modern way of eating habits, Ayurveda clearly tells you that if you eat at right time, when I say right time, that means when you're hungry. If you drink when you're thirsty, there is no way you're going to get sick. Unfortunately, most of us don't know what the right time is. And then most of the vegetarians, it's a well-known fact that they always have vitamin B12 or D3 deficiencies. And the study from Harvard, it says that B12 and D3 majorly are needed for consumption of non-vegetarian food. So when you don't need, you're not eating that food, definitely the body won't produce that much necessity of that particular enzyme. I'll give you an example. In India, I come from a place called Maharashtra. It is surrounded by nice mountain. There's a very long mountainous range. Yeah, Western Ghats. So someone like the WHO found out that one of the tribal community, they were very strong and they were very active. They used to climb the mountains at least 5 times in a day, go up and come down. And these people wanted to see that, looking at their activeness, they said, let's try to examine the blood. And when they examined the blood, they found out the average person's hemoglobin was 6.8. Now, clinically, when you see 6.8 hemoglobin, that you should be admitted in the hospital. They term you anemic. They said, no, this is not good for you. So they start pumping iron to them in their body. And when they tested the blood, the hemoglobin was 15 and 16. So the scientists were happy. But what happened was, these tribal people who used to go 5-6 times in a day, they couldn't even climb 2 times in a day. Because that iron, what they thought was anemic, was too much for them to sustain. So the nature has a way to show you or remind you what is good for you. All we have to do is pay attention to that. Yes.
GMO. So how can is it still most of the places they are getting GMO, even other is too expensive for markets. So how to
So generally, this is what I recommend, is that we should try to cultivate, or we should try to connect with the local farmers who produce organic vegetables. So if we demand, then the supply will increase. And this we can't do in larger scale. So it's important for us to create communities. Srila Prabhupada said that farming communities are one of the most essential aspects of our movement. Because we know what we are growing. On YouTube, there are so many videos where you can see people who are having 1/4 acre of land or 3/4 acre of a land. They can cultivate the vegetable for the entire year in that particular land. And fortunately, in America, we have too much land. So just try to connect and promote this kind of projects. Yes. Yes.
So I was asking what do I do if I have a bad relationship with food? Like, for example, I'm very picky, and since I do multiple sports, I've said before I have to eat more. But every time I eat, I feel really uncomfortable. I feel like and I feel constipated. And I just don't really feel hungry. And I later end up feeling really drained and like tired.
So her question is, whenever she eats, she feel drained out, and you're not having a comfortable relationship with food. Yeah. No, it's something like what she says, I can understand that because I've seen people who go through this situation. So people like this, what you should do is that you should start with semi-solid food or soups, so that doesn't give a stressful situation when you see the cooked meal in front of you. Once you start taking that, eventually your appetite will increase. Then you can switch to some solid food. So you decrease the semi-solid and increase the solid. That's how we go. And you will get the required nutrition from that. Okay? And try to eat as warm as possible. Yes. So, we'll take a last question if someone has it.
One.
No, we won't. Okay. Yeah, last question, yes.
People die eating more. And like, if you eat this, like there is a misconception of malnutrition. You have a take on like fasting or eating this.
Definitely people die eating more. Prabhupada said that and I accept it. There is no doubt in that. Because again, it is whenever you eat more, it comes in the category of greed. It is said there is enough in the world for everyone's need, but not for one man's greed. So even on the Shastric aspects, when the food is eaten because of greed, it will not nourish your body. It will harm you. Okay, so there are two things on the chat. Someone asked, could you tell us something about nightshade vegetables? Who should not consume it? Can someone give me an example of nightshade vegetables?
Sorry, what is your question?
Nightshade and
Nightshade. Mushroom.
Okay. I have read this, but I just wanted to know, what do you mean by nightshade? No, why it is called nightshade? Does it grow in night? No, I'm just curious.
Negative pranic food, right? Negative pranic food.
So, sorry?
Chat GPT.
No, one minute. Because they are?
They bloom at night.
Oh, they bloom at night. Okay. Then in that case, all the foods comes in all the vegetables come in the category of nightshade. Because if you understand the philosophy, the Fruit, the grains they get from sunshine, they get the strength, and from moonshine, they get the nourishment. And at the end of the day, I can tell in the prospect of Ayurveda, people who are having skin problems, they should not eat eggplants because it increases the dryness in the body. People who are having acid issues, they should not eat tomatoes because they're acidic in nature. And people whose digestion is not good, they should not eat potatoes because that causes gases. So that's what my take is. Okay. There is no night shift. Yeah. And then someone asked your thoughts on pink salt versus iodized white salt. So, Ayurveda elaborately describes lavana, which means salt. It emphasizes or it even describes the quality of sea salt, the quality of pink salt, the quality of iodized salt. Iodine is a component which is inherited in salt, but that doesn't mean that you have to take salt which is externally iodized. The safest salt would be the Sendhav namak or Sendhav salt, which comes as a part of pink salt. It has lots of minerals, and salt, it not only adds the saltiness to the taste, the saltiness to the taste of the food, but it is an appetizer also. So safely, if I have to say, I would say pink salt is okay, then iodized salt or white salt. Thank you. In fact, if we can limit the salt or if we can reduce the salt, that's good. It is said the demigods, the devatas, they don't eat salt. Therefore, they can live longer life. And no, it is a fact. Actually, if you see, human bodies can produce salt. I'll give you an example. Let's say if you have someone get a cold or mucus, at times if you spit, you feel it salty. Salt is an innate nature. You don't have to consume too much salt. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I think we should end for tonight. Srila Prabhupada ki.
So let us thank Anantesvar Prabhu by chanting 3 times Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Hare Krishna.